Thiruvananthapuram. We are joining you from Kerala today. The big battle in Thiruvananthapuram is where we are starting from. We're going to be talking of the big battle that is going to play out here. Shashi Tharoor, the three-time MP, versus the BJP's technocrat, Modi's go-to man, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who has been fielded from the constituency. What is the battle like? What do the people think? What are the key issues here? Remember here, it's not about the political rhetoric going across the country, but it is a lot more about the key issues here of development, jobs, skill development, digital India, Startup India. These are the issues that the candidates have been speaking of. I'm Pratibha. Welcome to the show. In the next 1 hour, we're going to get you voices from across Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. This is where Rahul Gandhi had brought all the focus in when he contested from Wayanad, remember? And in Kerala, the Congress party winning 19 out of the 20 seats. So this is one state where the BJP has not been able to give the Congress a run for its money. Is it going to be this time around very different because the left is not in an alliance with the Congress party despite the talks that are going on across the nation? That's also going to be our focus. We're going to be speaking our guests who are joining us as well. But before all of that, as we join you from the beach here in Thiruvananthapuram, I also want to I want you to take a look at this beautiful dance performance that we have lined up for you. This is a dance that is special to Kerala, and this is called the Kerala Nadam, and this is right at the beach where you're seeing the dancers who are all set for the performance. Kerala Nadanam, which is a dance form, a light form that has been taken from Kathakali. Now let's talk about what's happening in Thiruvananthapuram, a big battle that's playing out like we mentioned. Shashi Tharoor is the incumbent MP from the constituency. Are people happy with the work that he has done, or has Rajiv Chandrasekhar thrown a spanner in the works for Shashi Tharoor? And what about the left? The left has also fielded a veteran leader from the constituency. First up, take a look at the battle that's playing out, and then we speak about what the voters have to say.
The election yatra has entered Kerala, a state that contributes 20 members to the Lok Sabha, but also one that has for long been a political desert for parties like the BJP. This time, the BJP is hoping to reach double figures in Kerala in its bid for 400 Par. So we decided to find out whether the BJP is on track. As far as Thiruvananthapuram is concerned, the Lok Sabha constituency has a significant Christian population of about 14% and a Muslim population of a little below 10%. The constituency also has 9.5% population of scheduled castes. About 54% of the population lives in urban areas and about 46% in rural areas. It's these people who will decide their fate when Thiruvananthapuram goes to polls on the 26th of April in the second phase. The constituency has elected Congress leader Shashi Tharoor 3 times in a row. Shashi Tharoor has been that suave MP that Thiruvananthapuram has always been proud of. So much so that it almost seemed there was no match for him in this constituency. Tharoor has consistently secured around 40% of the vote share in the last 3 Lok Sabha elections. But this time around, the BJP has deployed Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar to take on the 3-time MP. A millionaire entrepreneur who has worked in the Silicon Valley, someone who can ensure their vote goes straight to the Modi juggernaut. But will Thiruvananthapuram go with the left or the right, or will Shashi Tharoor reign supreme? Decoding that high-stakes battle on the election yatra in Thiruvananthapuram.
So when the Prime Minister is campaigning in Kerala, he always says Modi ude guarantee, which means Modi ki guarantee. Is that going to cut ties with the voters in Kerala is the big question. As we come to you from the beach, the beautiful location right behind us, we're going to be speaking to the voters as well on what matters to them. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, so like we said, Shashi Tharoor, strong leader of the Congress party. In fact, this is one of the few seats which are now considered to be a Congress stronghold still, especially with what has happened with Amethi. This continues to be a stronghold for the Congress party. It was expected to be an easy win for Shashi Tharoor until the BJP decided to field the Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar from the constituency. The reason why this is interesting is because remember, Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Shashi Tharoor tick a lot of the same boxes. Known to be very suave, people who have been in different careers and then switched over to politics. Shashi Tharoor is known to reach out to the urban middle class voters, showing the aspirations of the new India. Until Rajiv Chandrasekhar came in, both remember also belong to the Nair community. Rajiv Chandrasekhar is also somebody who has said that the development in Thiruvananthapuram has been stagnant. It's going to change when he, a person who has the direct hotline to the Prime Minister, comes to the constituency, and that's something that a lot of voters are thinking of. If they vote for Shashi Tharoor, it only goes to the opposition, whereas they vote for Rajiv Chandrasekhar, he could be the Modi minister, he could get things done for them. So that could be the X factor that could work for the BJP. What is the situation on ground? We'll tell about that. But before that, listen into what Rajiv Chandrasekhar said on the advice that he had for Shashi Tharoor after Shashi Tharoor said that Rajiv Chandrasekhar is just an outsider. He's not going to have an impact here. Listen in to what he had to say. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. How is it going here?
It's going well. It's going well. I think it's very clear that after 15 years of experiencing a member of parliament who has contributed very little to the development and the growth and opportunities for the youth of this district, this constituency, people are desiring a change. They are fed up of the combination of the LDF government in the state and a Congress MP in the constituency, the combination of which is basically leaving people with nothing but despair and lack of hope. And it's just to change that my candidacy is talking about bringing in development, bringing in investment, working with Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to bring in the kind of development and progress that we are seeing in the rest of India to Thiruvananthapuram as well.
In his campaign, Shashi Tharoor is saying anything that, you are saying that being a minister, the question is, what did you do for 10 years? I, as a minister, have brought in development here. Whatever you're seeing in Thiruvananthapuram has been brought by me.
Yeah, no, he's entitled to his views, but he forgets, and I think he's embarrassing himself by being a 15-year MP and trying to move the goalpost and talk about me. 15 years ago, when he came to Thiruvananthapuram to contest, he certainly hadn't contributed to Thiruvananthapuram, but the people of Thiruvananthapuram still trusted him. The issue is not about what I have contributed to Thiruvananthapuram. It is my 18 years of track record and career in public life. It is blemishless. It is something that everybody knows how much I've contributed to public life. And he has got 3 opportunities from the people of Tirunelveli, and at the end of the day has delivered very little. He has published a 66-page document which effectively outlines every central government scheme, and he lays ownership to it. So my humble suggestion is he should take the credit for Chandrayaan and INS Vikrant, both of which were also based in Tirunelveli. So this is bordering on ridiculous. This election is about a referendum on the existing MP, the 15 years of his performance. As much as he tries to make it anything else, this is about his performance in the last 15 years. And the people of Bengaluru and other places which I represented will speak about my performance there.
I also want to ask you, what is the biggest challenge in taking on a formidable leader like Shashi Tharoor here? Is it that...
First of all, I don't think he's a formidable leader. I think sitting in Delhi, we have these views of people, but when we come down to Tirunelveli, it is clear that he has done very little. People have suffered for the last 10-15 years and continue to suffer as when he was MP. And his assessment of his responsibility is that he should write letters and ask questions in Parliament. That is not how I see it when I experience people in difficulty. I see my role as somebody who solves people's problems rather than just write letters and comment about it.
Okay, I want to ask you because he has been speaking about the fact that he has done a lot of work. He says that BJP will never find any acceptability here. That's something that the left has also said. Do you feel...
That is not true. For him to decide, the people of Tirunelveli will decide.
In BJP, it's going to be a challenge here because people don't see it as one of the parties that can be...
Not at all. Not at all. I think the 10 years that Narendra Modi ji has served the people of India, including Tirunelveli, there is enough evidence on the ground that the people want a change and want somebody who performs and delivers rather than somebody who just writes letters and asks questions.
Just 2 questions. What do you want to tell the people of Thiruvananthapuram? What is it that you bring to the
tell
table?
them anything. They already know what I stand for, what I am promising them. The people of Tirunelveli are all quite fed up of the last 15 years. Every place that you see in Tirunelveli, there is ample evidence of decline and negligence in the last 15 years. And they want somebody to come who is prepared to work hard to change all that. And they know that I have the capability to work hard and to build a better future for them.
Lastly, Thiruvananthapuram, because of the high literacy rate and because of the education here, is the battle different here because it's on real issues? I want to ask.
It is the same issues of development, of opportunity, of progress, and of a committed, responsible, responsive, accessible public servant and public representative. It's the same story all over the country. People want development, people want progress.
The Chief Minister says that there's a financial crisis in Kerala and the centre is responsible for it. What do you say to left?
The Supreme Court has already said that. Supreme Court has already said that the state government is responsible for the financial mismanagement of the state. So if the Chief Minister has any views on it, he should take it to the Supreme Court.
It's because people, the per capita GDP is highest here in Kerala, and that's why we have been penalized.
Now, if you talk like somebody who doesn't use his head, what can I say? He has pleaded his case in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has already talked about the mismanagement of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All the best for your campaign. So we just caught up with Rajiv Chandrasekhar. You are confident that the people are voting for a change. They've seen the work that the Modi government has done. He is known as a doer, somebody who promises and delivers. So he believes that that's going to work in his favor. Now let's also talk a little bit about the campaigns. We in fact went around Thiruvananthapuram, crisscrossed the entire area, and the campaign here is very, very different. We spoke about how here, apart from the political narrative, a lot of discussion is also on the real issues on ground for employment, for skill development. Apart from that, as far as the campaigning is concerned, interestingly, Shashi Tharoor's posters had only his pictures, Rahul Gandhi pictures missing from the posters, Rajiv Chandrasekhar in his posters. We saw Modi a guarantee. We had pictures of Prime Minister Modi as well. The question being, why are Rahul Gandhi's pictures missing from the posters of Shashi Tharoor? Is he banking on his own personal charisma? We're going to be discussing all in that. Very quickly, I want to introduce our guests who are joining us. Rahul Ishwar needs no introduction. We have Professor V.T. Rama, BJP spokesperson, Jimsa Abraham, political analyst, as well as Jairaj B, political analyst, joining us. A lot to discuss apart from the issues. The curious case of the missing posters of Rahul Gandhi from the Congress. We're going to be talking about that and a lot more after a very quick break. To stay with us. right, welcome back. We are talking about the constituency of Thiruvananthapuram and what the Congress party's prospects are going to be in Kerala this time around after the phenomenal performance in 2019. Why did the left and the Congress decide to split ways? More than that, remember, Rahul Gandhi is still contesting from the Wayanad constituency amid digs that have come from the opposition leaders. So is Rahul Gandhi considered a big, strong leader in Kerala? You may think not so much if you come to Thiruvananthapuram because his posters are missing from Shashi Tharoor's campaign. All across, Shashi Tharoor seems to be banking on his own charisma while Rajiv Chandrasekhar has Prime Minister Modi's posters all across his campaign. Rahul Gandhi's posters missing. Take a look at what I'm talking about. So the Kerala battle is going to be extremely interesting because the Congress party had won 19 out of 20 seats back in 2019. This time around, will it be able to retain it or not? A lot of it also depends on the Congress strongholds, especially in constituencies like Thiruvananthapuram, where I am currently. In the state capital, it was expected to be a cakewalk for Shashi Tharoor until the BJP said the Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar would be campaigning from here, would be the candidate from the constituency. But I just want to point out very quickly the difference in the posters or the way each of the candidates are portraying themselves to the voters. Right behind me, as we entered Thiruvananthapuram, we saw posters of Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Very interestingly, in posters of Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Prime Minister Modi's pictures are very prominent. In this picture as well, we see the Prime Minister. So Rajiv Chandrasekhar is speaking about Modi or a guarantee, the guarantee of Prime Minister Modi. He's speaking about if Prime Minister Modi comes back to power, then he's going to be in the cabinet. He's going to have the hotline with the Prime Minister to ensure development. Contrast that with what the Congress party is doing. These are the posters of the party candidate Shashi Tharoor. And just look at the poster here. Shashi Tharoor very prominently mentioned here with that hand signal of the Congress party. There is not a single picture of any of the national leaders, any of the state leaders. So Shashi Tharoor is well aware. He's a three-time MP. He's banking on the work that he has done. So that was not the situation in just that location. Across Thiruvananthapuram, wherever we went, that was the story. I want to ask Rahul Ishwar, who has a better understanding of how this is working on the ground. Why do you think Shashi Tharoor believes that his own charisma supersedes that of Rahul Gandhi or any of the Congress leaders, Sonia Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, all posters missing?
Pratibha, on a lighter note, I believe Trivandrum is facing something like a Sachin versus Lara, or a Shah Rukh Khan versus Salman Khan, which is a very good fight. All the three contestants, including Sri Pannian Ravindran, who is a son of the soil, is presenting a great fight. On a lighter note, Shashi Tharoor's poster only has his poster, but Modi ji's poster also has Rajiv Chandrasekhar in it. That is the situation, because Modi ji is fighting everywhere because he has that charisma. But let us give the fair space to Rahul Gandhi too, because he is also contesting as a MP from Kerala. So that is going to be the tough, but it is going to be, perhaps as a person from Trivandrum, I can vouch for one thing. Trivandrum is going to be the closely fought, one of the most interesting fight anywhere in India, because all the three parties are equally strong. All the three has presented equally good people too. So it is going to be a fascinating contest. Shashi Tharoor and Rajiv Chandrasekhar being the global citizens, Pannian Ravindran being the downtrodden son of the soil, friend of the working class. All the three have their clout. So it is going to be the most fascinating contest, and let us see who wins.
And you know, when you mentioned fascinating, you mentioned the son of the soil, and that's the reason why, while the Prime Minister also spoke about how there's a fight on ground, left and the Congress, in a constituency like Thiruvananthapuram, which is a stronghold of the Congress party, it's not that the left has made it easy for the Congress. It's quite a big battle there. How is this going to play out? And why do you think that, the Congress party decided not really to have Rahul Gandhi's posters? Is there no charisma? He is also contesting from the Wayanad constituency in Kerala. So you would think that Rahul has a bigger impact on ground in Kerala.
Right, thank you, Pratibha, very much. Welcome to Kovalam.
Thank you.
Welcome to Kerala, such a tranquil place. I'm sure Dr. Rama would agree to that.
Tranquil place, but a bitter fight playing out.
In Thiruvananthapuram,
Yes.
I have to confirm it is going to be a tough fight between the NDA candidate and the Congress candidate, Shashi Tharoor. Well, to give with all due regards and respect to the communist candidate, we do not think that it's going to play a dent this time around. Now, coming to your question, very interestingly framed, why are Rahul Gandhi's pictures missing from Chandrasekhar's posters? Now, my friend Rahul Ishwar started by saying, you have Chandrasekhar in Modi's posters, and rightly so. In a parliamentary democracy where you have candidates elected from different Lok Sabha constituencies, and once they are there, they have a discussion between them on whom to be elected as a Prime Minister of our country. I do not see why you should have somebody in all posters across the nation saying that this is the person who is going to lead us. I think from our constitution's point of view, it is entirely wrong, and dare I say, not exactly what our architects wanted in the first place. So I would say, yes, Rahul Gandhi's pictures are not in our posters, but that does not mean that he is not popular here.
Okay, so you're saying
And
it
I
becomes
find-
very a
excuse me.
presidential style
Excuse me,
campaign.
let me complete. I find this whole idea that you want your picture in all posters a bit absurd. And
Then why do we have Shashi Tharoor's picture? The picture was not a
Honestly,
necessity.
he is the candidate from Trivandrum.
Okay, so
You-
only the candidate's picture. We
Absolutely.
don't need the Prime Minister's picture.
This is
and
a
anybody
parliamentary
else's picture.
democracy, and yes, Pratibha, I think you should have the candidate's
Okay.
picture in and around the constituency.
Okay, madam, what do you think? He says that why do you even have Modi's picture? If anything, that's a insult, or it slights the candidate from the constituency, because he's the one who is going to be here. Why do you even have Modi's pictures?
Thank you, Pratibha, for the excellent invitation to such a nice place. See, before coming to the answer, I have to say this is Thiruvananthapuram, the land of the early kings who surrendered everything in front of, at the feet of Lord Padmanabha. And something like a regent they ruled here. So that shows selflessness. Selflessness. That kingdom was here, and later on what happened is, in Indian democracy after 1947 for the 6 decades, we have seen the corrupt people and also selfish motive, all these things you know, so that the line of Congress follows not selflessness but selfishness. So maybe he wants to project himself. I don't know, that is his party's decision. But we, as NDA, as BJP, we know we have a team. It's a teamwork, a democratic policy, and our ideology believes in what you call Atma Nirbhar Bharat, where everyone from Antyodaya should be coming up. So that means we have a kind of a collaboration. So Modi Sarkar or Modi Team Modi, has been providing all the sources, possible schemes of development for the country. And he is the leader, he is going to have a hat-trick. So being a member of his cabinet, our candidate Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar naturally embraces his presence, and we are so proud that in his posters we have Modi ji, we have Rahul.
So you're saying this is
the
teamwork.
togetherness.
It's
and
a
the spirit.
teamwork. That's why we have Modi ka Parivar, and that's why Rajiv Chandrasekhar is Modi ka Parivar, and that's the reason why we have Modi's posters as well. Where does the left come in this? Because remember, previously as well, in the 2019 elections, there was a big wave against the left. Of course, in favor of Rahul Gandhi or of the Congress party, you can say yes, but it was also a vote against the left. This time around, do you see a change happening in the 2024 elections? How do you see your campaign going, not just in Thiruvananthapuram, but across Kerala?
I can definitely say there is no anti-incumbency factor working here. Because when we go from house to house and when we have a down-to-earth connection with people, it is clear and well understood that there is a chance, a fairly good chance for the left to get more than going into 2 digits.
Okay.
That is the situation over here. Regarding the Trivandrum constituency and the poster thing, in the world, the first ruler in the world who put his poster in a COVID vaccination is Mr. Narendra Modi. And I don't know, he's obsessed with putting his pictures everywhere, even in the ration shop, and Kerala rejected that proposal over here. So he may be imposing his candidates to put on that. But for the case of Shashi Tharoor, maybe Rahul Gandhi is in his heart. So he does not need anybody to project him or anything like that.
Okay.
I have seen a couple of banners and posters in which Rahul Gandhi is there.
Okay, but
along
there
with
are very
Priyanka
few
Gandhi.
because I could hardly find any going across, crisscrossing across Thiruvananthapuram. Posters of it aside, he said that, the Prime Minister's pictures being everywhere could be a problem for the BJP. He's obsessed with himself. Remember, the left had also criticized the Prime Minister like this, whether it was during COVID or even the ration scheme as well. We're going to be talking about that as well as we speak of the personality politics around it, the truth on ground, what are the key issues, is it enough to just have charisma or a big leader in these posters? It's a lot more. We're going to be talking about that after a very, very quick break. BJP also wants to respond to that, but we'll be back after a very short break. Welcome back. Thank you for being tuned in to Times Now's Election Yatra. Rahul Gandhi is in Wayanad. And while we speak of the battle of the left versus Congress, when Rahul Gandhi was in Wayanad, he spoke about various issues, including the medical colleges. And he said that he has written to the Chief Minister several times, but he has not responded to it. Apart from that, he went on to ask why the Chief Minister does not attack the BJP and why the BJP does not attack the Chief Minister, hinting that the left may be the BJP's B team, as the Congress party says on several occasions. Who is the B team of whom? The Rahul Gandhi, of course, the Congress leader, questioning why the Chief Minister does not attack the BJP and why is it that the BJP also shies away from attacking the Chief Minister directly. When he was in Wayanad, listen in to what he said.
One thing I don't understand. I understand that the night ban is a complex issue. It's true. I understand man-animal conflict is a complex issue, but medical college is a simple issue. It's an easy issue to resolve. And I've already told you that we are committed to resolving these problems. I have written multiple times on these issues to our Chief Minister, to the central government. I'm going to resolve this issue with you together.
I attack the RSS and the BJP, and I've been doing it relentlessly. My question is, why is the BJP not attacking the Chief Minister of Kerala? Is when the BJP is destroying the constitution, attacking democracy, destroying the institutions, dividing India. Why is the Chief Minister of Kerala attacking me 24/7? I'm very happy for him to attack me, but he should also spend a little bit of time attacking the BJP and Mr. Modi and the RSS.
All right, so that was the attack from Rahul Gandhi. The Chief Minister has also responded to it, saying that he in fact spoke about the situation of the Congress party, saying 1 out of the 4 candidates of the UDF are former NDA candidates, and went on to say, I don't really need a certificate from Rahul Gandhi to attack the Prime Minister. Listen in.
ഇന്ന് കേരളത്തിൽ NDAക്ക് വേണ്ടി മത്സരിക്കുന്ന 4-ൽ 1 മുൻ UDFകാരാണ്. ഇതേ കോൺഗ്രസ് പാർട്ടിയിൽ ഇരുന്നു കൊണ്ടാണ് രാഹുൽ ഗാന്ധിയും വി ഡി സതീശനും മോദിക്കെതിരെ മുഖ്യമന്ത്രി സംസാരിക്കാത്തത് എന്താണെന്ന് ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. എന്ത് വിരോധാഭാസമാണിത്? മോദിയുടെ തെറ്റായ നയങ്ങൾക്കെതിരെയും അതിനെ നയിക്കുന്ന RSSനെതിരെയും പറയാനും പൊരുതാനും.
So you heard the Chief Minister as well saying we don't need a certificate from the Congress party. In fact, the Chief Minister has been consistently attacking the Congress party, saying the party has not done enough. Rahul Ishwar, Congress and the LDF clearly on a warpath here. Rahul Gandhi is saying the Chief Minister does not really attack the BJP, questioning why he does not do so. He seems to be hinting at a possible tacit understanding between the left and the BJP.
Pratibhaji, in Bollywood movies we see love triangle, but here we always see enemy triangle. Congress always alleges that BJP and CPM are together, they have backroom. BJP alleges that Congress and CPM, they are beatings of each other. CPM alleges Congress and RSS, they call it Cong RSS together. So, I mean, that more of politics, but I believe 2 or 3 submissions is one, there are genuine issues to be addressed. For example, Kerala is a very small state. We have high density of population and we have low land area to be given to higher, industrial space or manufacturing space. So we need such kind of spaces. In spite of being very educated, we don't have enough employment opportunities here. We need a Silicon Valley in Trivandrum. In spite of starting Technopark long back, we couldn't gather spaces like Bangalore, grew past us, or Hyderabad grew past us. So there are some genuine issues need to be addressed. So yes, politics will always be there. But traditionally speaking, Congress has always taken a center-left position in the political spectrum, BJP being the center-right, and CPM and CPI being more of the left or more towards the left. This is the spectrum of Kerala politics, and all the parties have their own thing. And just 2 more points. One, Trivandrum is basically more oriented to a Nayar-Nadar constituency, where Nayar, the forward caste Hindu community, is more in number. The Nadar community, which has both Christian Nadas and Hindu Nadas, have more in number. And Trivandrum as a district, it is 66 to 67% Hindu majority, nearly 19% Christian, 19 to 20 is Christian, nearly 12 to 13 to 14 is Muslim percentage majority. So these are the dynamics. So this is more of a Nayar-Nadar dominated seat. Both Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji, want to tap into that particular vote bank, being Vattiyoorkavu being one of the most forward caste Hindu dominated spaces in the entire Kerala. So there is a caste, religion, political dynamics. Then there is a urban middle class youth who doesn't bother about these much, who wants development. So it's a rainbow coalition that anybody is trying to form. Shashi Tharoor also wants to form that rainbow coalition. Panyanji also wants to do that. Rajiv Chandrasekhar also wants to do that. So who really taps into that space is going to be the critical factor.
Okay, you mentioned the Nayar vote here. In the 2019 elections, there was a lot of anger of the Sabrimala issue. That vote base shifted from left to the BJP, not so much to the Congress party. Is it the same that's going to happen this time around, the Sabrimala issue, the temple issue?
It shifted to both. In 2019, it was more of an anti-CPM vote where NSS, NMASE decided they will vote for Congress instead of BJP. Of course, there are a lot of Nayar votes traction to BJP, which is their natural party, if many of them feel. But they wanted to defeat CPM, NMASE. So that's the reason why Shashi Tharoor nearly won with 1 lakh votes, and NSS Karyogams. Their decision, NSS is a very powerful body here. We have NSS, SNDP, Brahmana Yogashema Sabhas, Vaigunda Swami, or VSDP kind of organization. So the caste dynamics is definitely going to play, but an emotive issue like Sabrimala is not there. Okay. Let's be honest. An emotive issue like anti-incumbency is not there.
Okay, if not anti-incumbency, are there other issues like the Prime Minister talks about temples? He in fact visited the Padmanabha Swami temple as well. The BJP has been saying this in states across the country, that if they are in power, they ensure that temples are well taken care of. Is that an issue that resonates here on ground, or do you think in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in these states, it's not much of a factor?
See, the cutting south is the slogan of DMK left Congress allies here. Naturally, these people are against culture, against tradition, against Hinduism. Even Udayanidhi has already stated, no, he will be against, he will uproot Sanatana Dharma. And here, day before yesterday, I think our CM said, we are not going to safeguard the temples or the Hindutva like that. Okay, let it be like that.
So you're saying an anti-Hindu vote. Very quickly.
But see, I have been in the ground till yesterday. So I know the pulse of Trivandrum.
So you're saying it is in favor of the BJP?
It's very much in favor of BJP.
Because BJP is known as the pro-Hindu party. Okay, as we run out of time, very quickly I want to ask,
one minute,
is this going to work against the left or the opposition, the India alliance, the fact that left and the Congress party could not come to an understanding?
See, there is a vote shift in the city region with Shashi Tharoor and Rajiv Chandrasekhar happened. It's a true fact what she said. I also know about it. But Rajiv Chandrasekhar tried to do the same in the coastal areas also, but it didn't work. But I think this all will work in favor of Pannian Ravindran.
Okay.
And it's going to be a victory for Pannian Ravindran. It will be a tight fight, but it will not be a cakewalk. But there are hopes for Pannian Ravindran because he was once MP over here. And the Shashi Tharoor charisma is not working as such before. Rajiv Chandrasekharan is much new here. He talks always about business and all the other things, and common man cannot understand.
Okay. Very quickly, I want to ask, because there are urban voters, I want to very quickly just take a very quick round. Who do you think is winning from here and why?
Before I come to that, I'd like to respond to Professor Rama. She said something very interesting. She said, anti-Hindu coalition, that is the India Alliance. Now, Shashi Tharoor in this constituency that I am aware of had spent close to 70 odd crores for the development of Padmanabha Swami Kshetra.
There was a lot of anger for the Sabarimala issue, which continues year on year.
This is after 200 crores was asked for by the MP from the central government. Only 60 to 70 odd crores was allotted. So I would like to rephrase the question and ask you, who is the real anti-Hindu here?
Okay.
And two, coming to the question.
In fact, Sabarimala issue is something that Rajiv Chandrasekhar himself also spoke of, and he says that this is what
Thank you for pointing that out as well. For Sabarimala, the anger was turned primarily towards the Communist Party.
Okay, let's see which it turns towards. But you also mentioned that here in Thiruvananthapuram in particular, more than this, urban voters, yes, the jobs, the employment, that's going to be one of the biggest factors. Literacy rate in Kerala is over 94%. In this constituency, it's about 93%. A lot of voters that we spoke to as well.
Who will win is your question. I think it is that guy in Harikrishnan who will marry Juhi. He's going to win. that has two climaxes.
See, we have been talking about the ground realization percentage and all these things cost. But what about the candidates?
Okay, candidates are going to be the most important when the voter goes out to vote. In fact, when we speak of the real issues, like we mentioned, we spoke to a lot of techies as well. Remember, Thiruvananthapuram, Kochi are known to be the tech hubs of Kerala. There is a high literacy rate, but there's no employment. Why is that? Many voters believe that it's because there's not enough avenues for skill development. That's something that Rajiv Chandrasekhar has spoken of, saying right now it may be in auto mode. Shashi Tharoor can't take credit for it. If I come, I'm going to ensure that companies are going to come in. What is the impact is going to have on ground in the urban voters? Over 50% of the urban voters in Thiruvananthapuram. We've spoken to the techies. We're slipping into a quick break here. On the other hand, on the other side, you'll hear the voices of the voters, the techies, the IT employees from here who believe that a change may be coming. Stay tuned. Welcome back in the suave battle that we are seeing playing out with Shashi Tharoor on one hand, who is known for his language skills. Like we mentioned, a lot of voters have been extremely proud of the candidate that they have. Shashi Tharoor, the MP from here, known to be a global citizen. That easy battle for Shashi Tharoor was taken away when the BJP fielded Rajiv Chandrasekhar, a technocrat who has worked in the Silicon Valley. He is posing a big challenge for Shashi Tharoor. The development in Thiruvananthapuram in particular, many believe that a lot is still there to go, including there's no metro here, the infrastructure could be better, a lot more for the techies. When it floods, there are several areas that are inundated with no help coming forth from the MP. What are the real issues? What do the people think? Is Rajiv Chandrasekhar's Startup India, Digital India pitch working with the voters? Take a look at this report. Well, in Thiruvananthapuram, issues take center stage. Beyond narratives that go on across the country here, it's all about the issues, what matters to the people and development. Right behind me, what you're seeing is the first IT park of the country. It had opened up in the country several years ago, but are people happy about it? Remember, the battle between Shashi Tharoor and Rajiv Chandrasekhar is also around the fact that there has been development here, there have been companies here. Shashi Tharoor saying, I am personally responsible for getting several software companies to Thiruvananthapuram. What can Rajiv Chandrasekhar say? What has he done in the last 10 years? But let's talk to the people who are affected and speak about the industrial growth in Thiruvananthapuram, how much of a factor that is. Thank you for joining us. Your name and what do you think are the key issues at a time when the candidates are saying, Shashi Tharoor saying, I have done a lot of development here. Rajiv Chandrasekhar saying, I'm somebody who is in the Modi cabinet. I can bring a lot more development. There has been an industrial stagnation in Thiruvananthapuram.
Yeah, thank you for coming in and taking our views. I'm Gopu. I'm working with Infosys, and I've been here for quite long now. So, to your question, if you ask about what has happened and the growth of IT here, right? Technopark is one of the very first IT parks in India, right? But then, where are we now, right? I mean, compared to all the other IT parks which started later, right? You compare the growth that the new IT parks have brought in, and where Technopark is now, I mean, we could have gone miles ahead, right? And if you look at the growth and the job opportunities here, it is very limited. I mean, compared to the potential that Trivandrum and the kind of resources that we have, it is very limited. Okay, so if you ask me personally on what is the potential and the growth opportunities here, unfortunately, I feel that the opportunity was not used.
So you're saying that there was a lot of potential. This is where it all started. It could have done a lot more, but that much was not covered. And the politicians are to blame, or the politics around is to blame. But you also spoke about connectivity. Also want to ask you, moving around here, how is the connectivity here? Because many have also complained that Thiruvananthapuram is the capital city, but it does not even have a metro.
I would say, yeah, everything is very late. We are just catching up by looking at other states. I've worked across many places in India, and I find the growth is almost stagnant. It's like an autopilot, it's just going on. Whatever companies he has spoken about, it's all wrapped up, wind up. And the reason why I prefer Rajiv Chandrasekhar, the other thing is that he has experience. If you look at his records, he has taken his business, like whether it's communication or whether it's BPL Mobile, he has founded it. So he has some experience related to technology, and he is a technocrat. I don't think the other side can put in so much fuel to the...
In fact, in Thiruvananthapuram, Shashi Tharoor is somebody who has worked in the UN before. He is somebody who is known for his language, and that's something that people here have been very proud of. The BJP dropping Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who is not just part of Modi cabinet, but he's also he's worked in the Silicon Valley. He has the kind of experience there. He is known to be somebody who knows and executes things. What are the expectations you have? You mentioned that you also have a company here. What are the challenges that you face here?
See, major challenges around the infrastructure, even though it is the first IT park in India, even now if a big company wants to come here, there is not enough office space available. That is primarily because most of the office spaces are made available by the government themselves. So we need more private players to come here and set up infrastructure so that bigger companies can move here. So obviously we all also have to give them incentives to come, like waiver on the office rent and all that. So that is required. Plus, I think the connectivity we mentioned, the Trivandrum airport unfortunately doesn't have the best connectivity in India. So many times, even for our customers, they find a lot of challenge in coming to Trivandrum after they come to India. So that has to change. Also, the airport, if you look at it, it doesn't look like an IT destination once you enter the airport. So I think in terms of branding Trivandrum as an IT destination, there is a lot more work which needs to be done, according to me. And there needs to be a concentrated effort in bringing more and more bigger companies here. We already have some good players here. If you see, we have the companies like Oracle, EY, Nissan, all here. But then we are, in terms of the scale, we have already missed the first best of the IT boom in India. So what we really need to capitalize on is the next wave, where there is AI, a lot of work related to AI and semiconductors which are coming here. And there, I think, from listening to the campaign, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar seems to have a lot of ideas there. So we feel that, if he is able to win from Trivandrum this time, there is a lot of exciting opportunities for Trivandrum the way he has presented during his campaign.
You also mentioned that we missed the first IT boom that India saw, and that's something that could have worked in favor of Kerala. What are the issues that you are facing here? You also mentioned the fact that the metro connectivity is not here, and a lot of residents have spoken about how that's such a big surprise. This is the capital city, there's so much happening here, and we still don't have the metro.
Yeah, see, it's just not the metro alone. When you talk about, when you have to have people coming over to Trivandrum from other countries or even other places in India, what is that you're offering them? Basic amenities is different. We always talk about that. But see, the important thing is that skill development. We don't get good talents here. We say that we have good colleges here. We say that we're number one everywhere on education, literacy, whatever. But good talents are a problem here. And when good talents has to come here, then that means this has to be in competitive. This has to have a competition with other IT hubs like maybe Hyderabad or Bangalore, for that instance. That is a problem which we all face now because we don't get good people. And I really think that this is a problem with the politicians also, because it's first thing is the cultural change, that the mindset of the people have to change in that manner. We have to be, it's just not about you get a BTech degree, MTech degree, that's not the way. But you need to have an industrial understanding, and that kind of a skill development is not happening here. But then we can see this happening in other IT industries and IT hubs like Hyderabad and all. So this is something I really think needs better development, and I think somebody like Rajeev Chandrasekhar can have a good, he can have a upper hand in this. We heard about the other, Shashi Tharoor talking about all big companies coming here, and you take the numbers here. How many big companies are here? For that instance, A-class companies are very little only in fact. And then very important is that we had 15 years of Shashi Tharoor, but now I think we have a bigger line drawn next side. I think this should work this time.
Okay, all right. And skill development that you spoke of, that's also something that has been mentioned in the campaigns of the BJP, that we are going to bring in hubs for skill development here that's going to help the people. What do you think of, the politics around it? You've been here for a long time. What do you think are the key issues here? When you go to cast your vote, what is it that you're going to be thinking of, the change that you're expecting here?
Right. So, my name is Manoj Datan. I'm CEO of Versicles and Edify. So, I have been in the in the park from 2001. So I have seen the growth from inside Techno Park. Like all of us mentioned, this is the first park, but we have kind of become stagnant. The rest of the places have taken up. Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, everybody has gone well and above Trivandrum or Kerala as such on the IT side. The basic, what I think the basic things that what we lack here or what could be made better is like my techie friend said, one is the infrastructure. We need to have better infrastructure. There are, I think, more than 100 companies waiting in queue to get an office. That actually it comes on to the employment side. More companies coming in, more employment, increases the employment. Second, like what they mentioned, is a connectivity issue. Connectivity issue is basically there are three types of one.
So you heard the candidates, you heard the voters, you know what the issues are and how it's going to play out. Do tell us what you thought of the show. With that, it's time for us to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again tomorrow at 5 p.m. We leave you with this beautiful performance. That's special to Kerala. Take a look at this.
So